Well, happy Thursday, humans. How's it going? Episode 12. Hello, I am human. Hanging out here down in the basement. What's up, baby money? What's up, Tanya? Gonna be talking with Bev Rage. If you don't know Beverly, you are in for a delightful treat. It's gonna be a good one. Just gonna hang out and wait for Bev to get here. There we go. Boop. Boop. Boop.
I'll ask that. Hey,
I'm here.
you are here and beautiful. How are
Oh,
you?
thank you. I am doing great. It's almost my bedtime. I mean, but it's fine.
Oh my God, I'm so glad someone else likes to go to bed early.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like 10 o'clock for me these days. It's great.
I know, dude, that's the same way that we are when we like with the kids with time change. We just
Hmm.
shift everything. So that was why I originally had the show at 8 o'clock because it was like bedtime was at 7.
Yeah.
But then like the time change happens and I was like, okay, I guess I'm doing it at 9, which is like kind of funny with like any
Yeah.
East Coast guests that I've had. I'm like, hey, you want to stay up really late?
It feels weird saying that 9 o'clock is late though, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It's kind of strange, but hey,
yeah, I
here
feel
we
you.
are.
So Hello, I Am Human tradition, what were you doing just before we went live?
I brushed my teeth
Good.
and I got my Afghan just in
Hmm.
case I get cold. And that's pretty much it. I was just waiting for my moment to shine.
Oh, God, I am like so enjoyed and enraptured that you get to shine a little of your light on me tonight.
Thank you. I
I
have
was,
my I even set up my ring light for you. Look at this. I
ooh,
know. It's a little harsh.
that looks good. Looks good on camera. I like it. I know. I feel like
Yeah.
I'm a little bright tonight too. How's that? Yeah, that's a
There,
little more. That's a little
there
more
we
how I
go.
usually do it. I'm a little
What were
more.
you what were
Hmm?
you doing? What were you doing right before this?
I was writing my notes.
Okay.
I was getting my head together and I don't know, I was in kind of a weird mood today. I was like kind of I don't know, like very spazzy feeling. I don't know another way to say it. Just like
Hmm.
all
Hmm.
day. And like does coffee ever just hit you weird?
I mean, I feel like that's my normal. Like, I'm pretty spazzy in general, so
Right.
I just use a lot of downers,
Hmm.
keep myself evened out,
Yeah.
and yeah.
I have talked multiple times on this show about my love of low dosing marijuana gummies. Like that, like
Oh yeah.
seriously, especially after I quit drinking, like I went months without anything and like
Hmm.
that made just the biggest freaking difference in the world for me.
It's a game changer, honestly. I mean, I've been taking edibles forever, but over the pandemic, it's definitely been a sleep aid, a
Hmm.
mood stabilizer, all of that. It's been great.
Oh yeah, 100% all of that. Like and
Hmm.
that was my first introduction was just regular old CBD gummies. And we have these ones with chamomile. And
Hmm.
man, that is like so good for sleep.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah,
It's
bless that
it's
stuff.
yeah. If I run out, I'm like, oh fuck, I can't. I'm gonna wake up at 4 in the morning, I guess.
Yeah. I'm
Can't
definitely the person
think.
that
I can't think at night, you know.
yeah, that's exactly it. Like I just get like such spinny thoughts and like which isn't always the like taking the wrong edible a little too late at night cannot always be good.
I love that feeling though. You're like, oh fuck. Here it comes.
Here it comes. I'm getting existential now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's great.
What everyone else can't see is that my wife is literally in the chat and was just like, "Hey babe, fresh time is closed. I'm going to Whole Foods." Like
Oh my God. It's amazing.
that's how you know that the show is really live. Like grocery updates are happening in the comments. That's
I love it.
amazing.
Yeah.
So speaking of like you shining your light on me, I have to talk about the first time I finally got to meet you in person
Hmm.
was when Bev Rage and the Drinks played with Baby Money and the Down Payments when Emily Backle was putting on the Reigning Femme shows at G-Man
Oh.
Tavern, and you were in your full regalia,
Hmm.
and Pamela Maurer and I just lost it. Like, I can't think of any other local musician I've ever just totally fangirled out on.
You have extremely low standards. That's one thing I've learned about you this evening. Was that the first time we met? Really? Interesting.
Yeah, that
Okay.
was the first
Huh.
time we'd met because I feel like we'd maybe seen each other in passing or like, or at least you weren't in drag. You weren't like
Okay.
dressed.
Yeah.
And like that was the first time I saw you fully as Bev, and like,
Okay.
oh my God, I lost it. It was amazing.
I loved those Raining Femme shows. Those were fun. I missed the G-Man a lot,
Yeah,
and I miss Emily. She moved to Denver.
yeah. She's a
Yeah,
pilot now. It's so badass. She's
I
like,
know
she's
it's
the
amazing.
coolest.
Yeah,
God, she's just so freaking cool.
I would love to like skydive from her plane.
Dude, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I don't have the guts for that. I can't do it.
Hmm. Well,
Mm-mm.
I guess that whole you and I meeting for the first time kind of like well, it developed into this wonderful friendship we have now. But you actually played that one show with us as well at the ill-fated house show that we played.
That was
But
so good.
it was very fun.
Hmm.
Um, it kind of made me realize that I think I'm just too old to not play or to play somewhere without like a proper monitor system or a proper PA system.
Yeah.
But I had a very good time, and I think I had a better time just kind of like preparing for it, which was
I
great.
I couldn't even tell you how much fun that was. And I've never been a punk drummer,
Hmm.
and so it was like very intimidating for me, to be honest. Like, even though I've played for like 20 years, like playing for you was so intimidating. A, because I'm a fan, and B, because it's not my normal style, and C, like I just wanted to do it justice.
Yeah.
And all I had to practice on, that's before I had like the drum set up here. So I was just like practicing on my electronic kit, which just like felt so funny, like
Hmm.
playing rubber pads really fast. So yeah, it
For
just
sure.
wasn't the same. But yeah, that show was so freaking fun. And like one of my best friends was in town from North Carolina. Oh
Hmm.
my God. That was such a fun show because it was such an amazingly eclectic group of people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely one of those moments where like there just wasn't a good monitor system, and especially as someone that's like filled in on drums and on various shows, like that's kind of the one thing I need. I just need to be able to hear.
I know. I just need to be able to hear myself as well. But hey, it's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, especially and because you've been playing a really long time too.
Yeah, I think I played my first ever show when I was probably like 16 or maybe 17. And I turned 37 this year, so I'm hitting the big 2 decades of playing shows, which is just like mind-blowing to think about. There's been
Hmm.
good ones and there's been a lot of bad ones. And I
Oh
think
God,
that
yeah.
but you always remember the bad ones like fondly after they happen. So usually when I'm telling people about like stories of playing shows and stuff like that, you always tell the bad ones, right? I mean, those are the fun ones to tell.
Yeah,
So,
because like I don't tell people about like, so one of the coolest shows we ever played was when we were like in Korea.
hmm.
And it was the first time we were there. It was in the summer, which was the best tour because it was really nice because the weather's very similar to Chicago.
Hmm.
And which I so that we like it was the 4th of July. We were playing on all these army bases since we were the loud rock band. They put us on at like 1 o'clock in the morning or something ridiculous. And we were so again, like even though we were a band, like starting at 1 o'clock, we were like, oh my God. So like the entire crowd was just hammered. It's all like army dudes in their early 20s.
And like we just slammed so hard. And I don't even know if we played well. I don't care. I've like it's one of those moments where like I felt like such a rock star because everybody was like pumped, and it was the 4th of July on an army base. It was cool.
Okay. All right.
I don't know what these things are doing. Let me put these
Uh-oh.
little bad boys back in. So what's if you could think of like what's your favorite love hate show?
My favorite love-hate show. Oh geez.
Or like one that was either like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? When you like
I mean,
loved it.
there's been for Bev Rage and the Drinks, we've been lucky enough to actually play a lot of like really amazing shows, and most of them have been good.
Hmm.
There are a few where it's like, oh, that didn't go so well, but like usually people are like receptive to it in some ways. We played some shows in front of maybe like a handful of people here and there, but for the most part, they've been pretty well attended. Um, our first show as Bev Rage and the Drinks, we actually got to open up for Pansy Division, which was fun at Shuba's. That was, uh, God, I think like 5 years ago or 6 years, 5 or 6, I forget. Um, but it's kind of interesting because one of the first shows I ever played when I was like 18 years old was with Pansy Division. So over these 20 years, and that was in a band, I'm from like kind of near Cleveland. So
Hmm.
that was in Cleveland, and so like this band that I like grew up idolizing, this queer punk band, the seminal queer punk band from like the like 90s, who is still around today. I was able to play the show with them as like an 18-year-old who idolized them. And I actually became friends with them through the years too. So I'm good friends with John, the singer, and Luis, the drummer. And it was kind of like serendipitous that the first show that Bev ever played was with this band that was one of my first shows I've ever played as well. Of course, we didn't sound that good, but but hey, I mean, we were still a three-piece back then. It was our first show, and it was pretty well received, I think. I don't know.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's so cool. Like, there's nothing cooler than getting to play with your heroes. I don't like
Hmm.
one time I got to do that was when we opened for the band Seven Mary Three, which I think you
Okay,
have a certain age to remember them.
absolutely.
But like that was such a big deal. And like I especially as a queer person, like getting to open for somebody that you just idolize like that, that's double cool because it's like it's not only a band that like makes you feel that you love their music, but it's also someone that makes you feel seen.
Hmm.
And like that's really incredible. So that had to be nuts. And like how cool to do that A at 18 and then that again as Bev.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's always nice to play with other queer people too. Like, I don't want to play shows with a band full of like straight white dudes anymore.
Yeah. I mean,
Snooze City.
yeah, I just I play in a lot of bands that are comprised of straight dudes, but also like you gotta put bands on good bills. That was what was so great about the Reigning Femme shows that Emily put together was that the
Hmm.
bands she could juxtapose bands that in on paper like I would look at this lineup and be like that doesn't necessarily make sense, but then you see everybody together and you're like this is a killer freaking lineup.
Hmm.
And that was always super duper fun getting to see that and like getting a good lineup because man we've been pitted with some bands like there was this one like show that Baby Money and the Down Payments got put on and it was like why do you have us playing with these guys
Hmm.
we we literally aesthetically musically like none of this makes any sense like what the fuck are we doing here.
Yeah. On that note, it would actually be kind of funny to flip the script on that a little bit and get inside some of the bands that have been put on bills with us to be like, oh my God, what did we get? What did we get into? This is like this drag queen band, like this fast, aggressive drag queen band. Like, what
Yeah.
did we do to ourselves to get put on this show? I actually hope that that's something that these people, I hope that people are telling stories about the worst show they played and it is with my band. That would be ideal, actually.
That's like the best life goal ever as a band.
I hope I Google myself sometime and there's like this horror story about this horrible show that this band once played or something, and it's with Beverage and the
That would
Drinks.
be amazing.
I would love
So,
it.
so speaking of Bev's first show, like when was Bev born? How old is Bev?
Bev is timeless. She
Truly.
is ancient and justified. No, so Beverage and the Drinks formed in 2015, I think. We played our first show in 2016, but we were playing together for maybe like a year prior to that. But I've been doing drag as Bev for maybe like 4 years prior to that,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't really that well formed because the the I wanted to use drag as a way to amplify the things that I'm good at,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm good at music, I'm good at being in a band, but what I'm not good at is lip syncing and dancing and stuff like that. So I couldn't really like combine those two things that well. And then it just kind of clicked to me. I was like, well, why don't I just be in a band like I'm always in and just do drag on top of it? Because those are the two things that I love doing. So it took me a little while for that to click, but we're going strong. We're still around. We've had a few lineup changes, but I think that we're in our most fully formed uh, uh, band right now, and once shows start opening up, we'll be ready to roll, I think.
Yeah, I'm digging the lineup right now. I think that I mean Dan and Dan's playing bass. No, he's playing guitar with you because
Dan
Sam's.
plays, correct, yeah. So Dan Jarvis plays bass, or oh God, Dan Jarvis plays guitar right now. And he's an amazing guitarist. He's brought a ton to it. Sam Westerling, she's been in the band for probably like 4 years. She
Mhm.
joined like for about a year or two after we started. So she's kind of like my co-songwriter at this
Mhm.
point. And then Mary Rose Gonzalez, she joined the band in like fall of 2019,
Mhm.
which I cannot believe has almost been 2 years. But we've only played one show together with this lineup, which was
Right.
Ian's party in 2020, and then the world shut down. So we've been practicing pretty much through the pandemic,
Mhm.
except for like some like maybe like a few months at a time where COVID was really bad.
Mhm.
So we've been getting together quite often and getting a new album ready, all that kind of stuff, and really solidifying what we have to record, which we'll be doing in 2 weeks.
I'm so excited for that. And you
Mhm.
said that how many tracks was it going to be?
We're thinking it'll probably be between 10 and 12 tracks. We have, well, you know how it goes. Sometimes they don't work out, but it'll be a full length though.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, hey, cat. Hey, babe. You want to get the cat? It's just getting really real tonight.
I thought she was at the grocery store. Who are you calling babe?
Oh, we live in the suburbs. Everything closes at 9. What the H?
Oh,
Oh well. Guess I got to go out at 6 o'clock in the morning and get milk for the baby. The kids drank it all today. Amateur
jeez.
hour, Sarah.
For
Tighten up.
real.
I know.
The that parent life. Whew.
So speaking of food,
Hmm.
so where did the snack thing come from? If you haven't been to a Bev Rage the Drinks show, one of my favorite parts that often happens is snacks come out. And was that an Aaron thing? Was that a you thing? Where's snacks come from?
No, the snack thing was always something that I kind of wanted to incorporate because so you and I know, like we've been going to shows for 20 plus years. And one of the things that really stuck with me going to so many like shows, especially like punk rock shows, is sometimes I would go to see a band that I really liked on or in theory or like their music or whatnot. And I would go there and I would be so bored. Like I'd be like, these people aren't doing anything. Why aren't they like entertaining me besides with their music? Uh, so so I vowed to myself whenever I started this band is that I want to be as entertaining as I possibly can be. I'm going to be 7 feet tall. I'm going to be funny, I hope.
I think so.
um, I'm going to be irreverent and like subversive in whatever ways I can be. And I'm going to throw out snacks into the audience. I'm going to run out in the audience. I'm going to give out prizes, all that shit. And just kind of like make it as entertaining as possible. Um, so the snacks kind of like was an easy way to get people like involved and like come up close and all that kind of stuff. Aaron Anger, who was our guitar player and drummer for a little while, or not a little while, from the beginning, and he left the band maybe 2 years ago. He was really good at like going out in the audience and engaging people and giving them Oreos and all that stuff. Um, but I don't know how much we're gonna do that moving forward because
Yeah.
of germs and whatnot. Uh,
Individually wrapped only.
yeah, exactly. We did build for our last show, I built a thing that I was calling like BevBot, which was I built a pedal board that could control this like little like robot thing that would do fog and bubbles and like have a bunch of different like light uh shows. So we'll probably bring that back. But
I did not know about BevBot because that was not at the house show that I played.
BevBot is a new development who has been sitting in my drag room for a year and a half now. I need to pull her out and make sure she still actually works. We'll see.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's gonna be that's really hot, and I think it makes sense to evolve maybe a little bit away from the snacks, but it was perfect
Yeah.
for
It was
hungry.
it was good for the early stuff. Our new music is I'm not gonna say it's serious in any ways, but it's a little bit. It kind of dives a little more deeply into more serious issues.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of interesting. Like a lot of that early music I was writing just to be kind of like not necessarily shocking, but kind of like make sure that there was like a fun component to it. However, like a lot of our new songs they're still witty and funny, but they tackle more serious issues
Mm-hmm.
like therapy and like uh healthcare and shit like that.
Yeah.
So you could expect a little bit more of that, but I swear I will still have a turn of phrase here and there.
Oh man, like that's my favorite thing about your music is it's just such good songwriting too. Like had a tryst with a narcissist, like that. It's just like when have you heard the word tryst in a song? Like I can't think of a time, and it's just so witty, and like the whole story is so good. Like
Hmm.
love all of your songwriting, so I'm excited to see it get a little bit more a
Yeah,
little bit more serious too, because I am completely aware that you're gonna still be Bev as you're being serious. Do you know what I mean?
of course, yeah.
Yeah, you're.
It's there's also a thing I am unable to write about or I'm only able to write songs about personal experiences. So everything that I've written and all the words that you hear, all of that stuff has happened to me.
Yeah.
Like I'm having a tryst with a narcissist. All of that is real. Like all that's a true story about like some asshole I was like dating for a brief amount of time. So so when you hear all of this new music, all the lyrical content is autobiographical, trust me.
I think that makes her the best music though, because I mean, that's the thing that draws me into writers that I like, whether it's art that I like, movies, anything that it's a real story, and that's the kind of music that really turns me on. Is like I want to know about your real life. Like
Mhm.
I am very interested in the songwriters that can just write about anything. That Tom DeLonge is the first one that comes to mind for me because I like got really into. I wasn't a big Blink 182 fan. I got into like Boxcar Racer and then Angels and Airwaves, and they really like write about kind of whatever. He gets like a theme, like oh, it was like the song about the astronauts and like what it meant for them, and they're stuck in space and they're missing their home and stuff. Like he goes down that road. Cool.
Yeah.
I can't do that. Like, which is one of the reasons I had such a hard time writing for years when because I would always like write to like understand my feelings and work through them. And then I was in a stable relationship where I was happy, and when I had an emotional issue we talked about it, and I was like, this is very healthy.
Yeah.
I'm writing nothing. So
I'm actually in a similar situation now. I have a boyfriend now, and it's a very good relationship. And now I have nothing to write about. It's
mhm.
like as soon as I'm in a stable relationship, I'm like, well, now I have writer's block, so I'm not going to be able to actually write any songs.
Yeah.
So
Can we get into a big fight or something? But no,
I
no.
know for real, I need to be more of a bitch or something, and then I'll have like a full album's worth of stuff to write.
Drink too much a couple of nights,
Uh, I
go off
know
the rails. No, no, don't do.
exactly.
No, you know what I'm doing is so Pamela and I are working on some stuff, and I'm working on some other some songs with some other people as well, and I'm just farming old journals because I
Mm.
just have so many journals full of lyrics, and like one of the things that will happen to me, and maybe this happens to you, is I'll just get like 3 or 4 lines that are really good, and I write them down, and then they just live in the notebook, and I haven't gone back to so many of them, but whenever I flip through, I'm like, oh God, that's so good. I got to finish writing that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at with some of that stuff, is going to go the collab route, which I haven't gotten to do in years. And it's so fun to like write with people.
Yeah.
But do you, when you're writing with Sam, are you both writing musically, or are you doing lyrically too, or?
Musically, I write all the lyrics for our music. So the way that we work as a band pretty much is I will write everything lyrically. I will bring a song to practice, pretty much formed in like a skeleton of a song, and make a demo of it and bring it to practice, and then the band kind of transforms it into its final form. Sam has a lot of input on that. She has some really great ideas, and she kind of takes my skeletons of songs and transforms them a little bit into some more interesting and complex ideas. And you'll see a lot of that on the new album too, in that it's going to sound a lot different than our music that's already released right now. I'm not saying anything about that, because that has its place too, but Sam has had a big impact on this new music. So, and Dan has too, Mary Rose has as well. So it's been a very nice collaborative experience, which prior to this lineup, it was pretty much me bringing music to the table and kind of just playing what I brought.
Right.
I'm really enjoying the new songwriting journey that we're going through right now.
Yeah.
I have a lot of songs kind of in a like a demo folder on my computer that probably won't see the light of day just because they don't really fit anymore. But yeah, it's been a really great experience, especially over the pandemic, when we can really sit down and focus and not worry about like booking shows or touring or doing anything like that outside of just purely songwriting and planning for whenever we can actually do those things. So it's been a nice experience to not have that pressure of shows or tours or like a timeline of releasing stuff. So it's been a nice change of pace. That's one good thing that's come out of this, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that was one of the things that's been so nice for a lot of artists. Like, as we all kind of got used to the change, we realized that the change allowed for the pace to slow down. And I mean, I felt more like my late 20s self when I didn't have a regular job and was just a musician. I mean, I felt more like that than I have in forever. And I mean, granted, I don't have a regular job because I left my job to be a stay-at-home parent, but
yeah,
as the kids have gotten just a little bit older and a little bit more independent, and just all of my friends and people that I work with have all slowed their pace too. So now they have time. Like, tomorrow I'm going into the city and we're filming a music video.
Oh, cool.
Money. Like, I'm so stoked. We got all high tech. We got a little gimbal. I'm super excited.
Oh,
Gonna bringing the tripod. We're getting all fancy.
You are gonna be so stabilized.
The most stable thing we've ever done together.
Oh, jealous.
Yeah, I think that the pandemic has definitely, and just lockdown in and of itself, maybe not the pandemic. The pandemic with sickness is bad. The lockdown and the change of pace has been really good. So what's been some of the other like silver linings that have shown through for you with the lockdown?
Yeah, I mean, there are some. I guess I should preface this by saying I am very lucky, and I think everyone in my particular band is very lucky, because we never use this as a money-making thing, which if we did, that wouldn't work for other reasons. So we all have day jobs and things that we can do to support ourselves outside of the music. So that's a good thing. There are many artists, especially like drag artists and some musicians, that use music and drag and other art to make a living. This has been horrible for, of course. So I want to recognize that. We're lucky in that we never use Bev Rage and the Drinks to make money. But that said, so the lockdown, what has been good about it? despite what you may think, if you know me through like Bev Rage and the Drinks, I'm a little bit of an introvert, just a little bit. I like socializing, but I'm not like a big, I don't go out to a ton of bars and I don't do a ton of I go to a bunch of shows, but that's different. But I think at the heart of it, I'm kind of introverted and I like to be at home or like at a friend's house with a small group. So that has been nice to not feel the pressure of being social or being out and about and doing stuff, making connections, etc. Um, what else? I've been able to watch a lot of 90 Day Fiance. Um, I have watched a shitload of horror movies, which I'm a big horror nerd.
Mhm.
Um, I have connected with some friends over like Netflix parties and playing like Jackbox via Zoom and stuff like that. I've made new friends
Mhm.
through activities like that, which has been really cool and fun. Um, and just kind of like I know we already kind of mentioned this, but just like being able to slow down and be like, I need to work on this project and now I have time to finish it. I
Mhm.
can sit down and work on this song for 3 weeks if I need to, as opposed to taking it to practice tomorrow.
Mhm.
And it's been really nice to be able to do that.
Yeah.
On the flip side of that, I desperately miss shows. I desperately miss seeing people and hugging people in person. I miss going to drag shows. I really miss festivals. Um, we had to cancel a lot last year. Every musician's going to say we had to cancel a lot last year, but we had a big year last year planned. We had a tour planned, an East Coast tour with Pansy Division, actually, who I mentioned, which
Right.
is heartbreaking, and a bunch of like festivals booked and stuff like that, and some cool shows. But those will happen again. Uh, Everybody shut down, so things
Mhm.
will open up again at some point. Um, but yeah, it's been interesting. I know that there's like a light at the end of the tunnel now,
Yeah.
so it's going to happen eventually, and I'm looking forward to a little bit of change of pace. But I'm cool with working from home, and I'm cool with spending a little bit more time to just kind of like sit on my couch and reflect on my unique introvertism.
Yeah. I think that that was one of the things that you and I were talking about was that it's there's certain things that I kind of don't want to go back from, like where you were talking about, everybody's so hot in the pants to go back to normal, go back to normal. I think that there's a lot of us that are really like, yeah, but some of it's kind of nice. I mean, whether it's something as simple as curbside pickup. Nobody did curbside pickup. That is the best thing. I love it. I Hell yes, I'll tip you just to walk it out to my car. I wouldn't have minded that when I was in the restaurant or retail industry at all.
Yeah.
Little things like little innovations. Another little thing that I liked was when they were first kind of starting doing open air restaurants, when that was kind of still a thing for a little while in the summer. We had gone out the one night, and they had where all of the menus, you just scan your phone with a QR code. There was the menu. You could look at it, and then when you came back, they like let you pay, and it was all just electronic. And it's like, that's so much more environmentally friendly, and especially for restaurants that turn over their menu, like, every couple of nights or something. It's like, we're not using up all the paper. So what's
Yeah.
some things that you would like to stay from quarantine?
I would agree with you on those. Excuse me, sorry. I would agree with you on those things as well. I think that the environmentally friendly thing is obviously like huge. I'm an environmentalist and I've worked in various like nonprofits in the conservation world in my life. So that's always at the forefront, and clearly the planet is dying, so we need to change. So yeah, things like that are not killing the planet is great. Um, I I love working from home for my day job, which is nice. I don't think commuting is really like necessary for people, for a lot of people, some of course. Um, it's interesting you said go back to normal, because that's a concept that I think about a lot at this point, because there are a lot of things that prior to the lockdown and the pandemic were thought of as normal, which are not and we shouldn't go back to.
Hmm.
Um, and this isn't even talking about like social justice issues or anything like that. Um, I'm more talking about like in the artist world and the musician world where um, unfortunately a lot of musicians aren't paid fairly and aren't treated well
Right.
uh, in our industry. So it'd be nice to not go back to making $0 to $50 or playing shows for drink tickets.
Hmm.
I don't think that we'll be doing that, or at least I won't. Um, and uh, let's see what else as far as that goes. It's going to be interesting to see how the music world bounces back from this because I don't think it should go back to what it was. It needs to evolve and um, it needs to treat the people that are bringing people to the venues a little more equitably.
Hmm.
So and make more diverse shows and book more acts that were seen as like tokens and stuff like that in the
Hmm.
past. So we need to change it a lot. There's a lot that needs to happen, and um, I'm not the person to do that, I don't think, but I'm willing to help people who have the same thoughts as me.
Yeah.
I'm willing to help. So.
Well, you've got the big voice and the big hair to do it. God damn it.
Exactly. I need to make some bigger hair. I have something I need to film soon, and I'm like, shit, all my wigs are like all trashed. God.
Okay, so that's a real Bev question I want to ask. So, of all the things that you get to wear for Bev,
Hmm.
what's your favorite to create? The wigs? Because you have some intense wigs. When you're talking about being an environmentalist, like your garbage wig
Hmm.
that you had. I love that you posted that picture for Earth Day. And so, what's your favorite? Would you say the wigs or the outfits?
I really love styling hair and making wigs out of kind of like unconventional materials. That's my favorite thing to do. I think I do it pretty well, and that's my all-time favorite thing to do. I I like costuming, and I enjoy making my costumes and embellishing things that I buy, etc. Uh, but sewing is not my like expertise. I would love to get better at it. Uh, we'll see if that happens. That seems like a project that would be like, over this pandemic or over this lockdown, I'm gonna learn how to sew.
Right,
But I didn't. I could have. I have a sewing machine like right over here.
right.
And I can like make a few straight lines. I can take some stuff in, but it would have maybe I'll do it. I swear I will. I'll do it over the next 3 months.
Nope.
I will make an outfit.
Yeah, I like it.
But I love making wigs. I love making stage props, stuff like that. That's what
Mhm.
I'm really good at.
Yeah, you are really good at it. I mean, like your wig work is wild. Like the one that's kind of like the rainbow kind of dreads one.
Oh yeah.
Right?
They're not dreads,
That,
but it's like a like yarn.
oh, right. I think I've only ever seen pictures because I when we played together, I think it was the I think you've done the big blue one and the big orange one when we've played shows together. But man, you've just got the best hair. You really are like legit, probably 7 feet tall with the hair. It's
It
amazing.
it's nice because I can just like see over everybody. It's great.
I've never had that feeling. I'm 5'4". I don't. Hey,
You can sit on my shoulders next time we see each other.
yeah, for sure. That'd be a good one.
Hmm.
What So what have been some of your other like things that you're doing that you stay sane during the quarantine? Because you're a gardener, right?
I am. I love to. I live in a place where I have a little garden outside, or actually not even a little. It's pretty big. So I garden. Um, I like to cook, which goes along with that. Um, yeah. I'm hoping to get a dog soon, so that'll be nice. Um, but yeah, gardening was a big stress relief last summer when there was like a major lockdown and we couldn't really see anyone. So I could just like go outside, get my hands dirty, like grow pretty much everything that I wanted to, and really just sit down and focus and kind of let the stress uh, release from me by being outside, not being stuck inside.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Yeah. I rollerblade a lot. Um,
I believe
uh,
that. You gotta
yeah.
completely believe
Yeah.
you're a rollerblader.
Hmm. Of course of course I am. Um, yeah. So,
I, so is that do you have any other kind of like meditative stuff, or is that just kind of your jam? Like, because for me, like there's something about caring for a plant that's even different than caring for an animal. You know what I mean? Like one of the things that I started doing was I started growing like oyster mushrooms and stuff for
hmm
a little while during the pandemic, and it was like it was so gratifying to just like have to check on it. And like for me that was nice because it had to happen multiple times a day, so I had to go in, I had to mist them, I had to make sure that the air was circulating, I had to like fan them and do all these things. So
yeah.
what is it about gardening you think that kind of attracts you to it?
There's a lot of, well, so I garden both like edible plants and also I am big on native plants. So, it's part feeding myself, and also part kind of just like caring about the environment, especially in an urban space. So I really love to grow, like native plants that attract beneficial insects and stuff like that to kind of like bring birds and insects and all the other things that are native to this area and good for the environment to my neighborhood in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Um, with the edible plants, I'm vegetarian, so and I eat vegan quite often. So just kind of like feeding myself in a more environmental way from stuff that is like 2 feet out my door is just very meditative and important to me as someone that is trying to reduce my footprint in the world, my size 12 heel footprint. Um, so yeah, it's meditative. It makes me feel like I'm doing something good
Mm-hmm.
for the planet, I guess. Um, yeah. Besides that, I mean, it doesn't sound meditative, but I watch a lot of horror movies, like I mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
and just sitting down and watching Friday the 13th 7 for the ninth time just really is meditative, and I can just kind of zone out, and it's nice.
It's always funny, like the things that we all choose to zone out with, because like my wife, her thing that she wants to just turn off is Real Housewives.
Hmm.
And I didn't understand it for the longest time. And we were watching the one season. I was like, oh, this is exactly what you mean. I am totally checked out right now and I feel totally fine with it. Yeah, let's see what they're doing. Oh, wow, look at this drama. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I finally understood it sometime. It was during the pandemic. That was like, oh, because it's a totally unreal reality. I
So,
get it now.
so I've never gotten into the Housewives series, although I'm kind of scared that if I did, that I would be sucked in because over the pandemic, I am 100% fully into the 90 Day Fiance world,
Yeah.
and I cannot get enough of it. I don't know what it is. It's like a train wreck. I care about these people, well, some of them. And it's just like impossible to turn off. I've watched so many seasons of all of these spin-off shows. It's
Mm.
great. I would suggest it to everyone.
Well, if you're gonna tip your toes into the Real Housewives franchise, the new season of Real Housewives of New York starts in like a couple weeks.
Okay.
I gotta say, like that's a good one to dabble in because like those chicks are fun because most of them have known each other for like 20 years. So there's like real like relationship shit underlying that. It's not just
Hmm.
like a group of women that just came together out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna dip your toe in, Roni's the way to go. I'll try a 90 Day Fiance if you'll try a Real Housewives. Oh, it's
Perfect.
days away apparently.
Deal.
Deal.
Yeah.
I'll get my
I'll
two.
do
So
I'll do my homework.
what but speaking about the environmental stuff, like you grew up in Ohio,
Hmm.
and do you think that that's kind of where some of the like maybe being from a small town where that has you more interested in it, that it's like kind of part of your roots? Like what kind of got you into for lack of a better way to say it, caring about the environment.
Yeah, I don't know where it came from. I grew up near Canton, Ohio, home of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, which I had to go to so many fucking times on field trips that I don't know what they were doing to this tiny queer child. Um,
That's so what
making,
a weird field trip thing is like
uh,
football,
and how do you go there more
like
than once? Ugh. But I do know a lot about football because I had to go to the fucking Pro Football Hall of Fame so many times. Um, but anyway, uh, what was the question? Oh, the environmental. Uh, so I
football.
grew up,
Let's talk about football, Bobby.
yeah. So I grew up in it. It was pretty suburby, but it was on the border of the rural area of Ohio, and like I like my childhood involved all the things that like a country kid does, like going outside and playing and
Mhm.
jumping in the creek and finding crayfish and all that kind of stuff. So I think it all kind of just stems from like being encouraged to be outside all the time and like being kicked out of the house in the morning and coming home at night and our parents not worrying about what we're doing and stuff like that. So I think just kind of like appreciating the natural world stems from being a kid in country. Um, but gr like going like further into like later in my life, I studied anthropology in college and actually biological anthropology. So I started like thinking about more scientifically the world around me. Not that I really use that much today, but really gave me an appreciation for like nature and the world. And nature is beautiful. I mean, a lot of the like styles and forms that I try to use in drag and try to incorporate are all like natural forms, or like environmental concepts that don't necessarily come about in like my normal dress, stuff like that. I like more organic forms and shapes.
Got it. Yeah, because even as I think about your patterns, like that is one of the things, like even down to when you're just wearing like a really tight bodysuit, it is the more natural instead of like, boxy t-shirts or something like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, I can see where like you can definitely like there's a different appreciation of the body and what you do. And
Yeah.
I gotta say, like just your makeup contouring, like it is ridiculous, like how
Oh,
good you
thanks.
contour your face. Like no brain for that whatsoever.
Thank you. It's taken a lot of time. I was recently going over some early Bev photos, and girl, it's it's gotten better. Trust me. I'll do a throwback sometime soon, and yeah, it's gotten a little better. I'm not the best makeup artist in the world, but it's certainly a acquired skill that I've gotten a little bit better at over the years.
Well,
And
that's
also I should say that like my costuming and everything that I put together, I'm pretty poor, so I don't put a ton of money into it. So if I had more money, I could like hire someone to make these like fully formed concepts that I would love to do for my drag. I may I do what I can with the resources that I have as a poor musician. Um so yeah, it's a labor of love what I do
well, I
with
think
my
that
drag.
that's isn't that our the way art works so often is it's this thing that like we'll pour ourselves into fully. Even just whether it's this podcast or music or whatever you do, like you just give your all into it because it's what you love doing. But you
Mhm.
like I'm glad that you mentioned like that you would like paying someone to do costuming and stuff like that because that's something that like we were talking about the other day that you and I are just such firm believers in is paying artists and paying your friends for the work that they do.
Yeah.
So like I think that that's a really good thing that to mention and I think that that's always been my one of my things is like I just want to get to a place of I'm always working to become more prosperous so I can put more out into the world. Like that's
Hmm.
kind of my jam with that. So, you know, you
Yeah.
go
One
ahead.
of the like you're saying, like paying your friends and paying artists what they deserve. Like I'm very against like asking your friends who are very talented artists or designers or stuff like that. I'm very against asking them for like a discount because you're friends, because I think that you should be paying your friends more in some cases because they've spent years developing these skills. So
Mhm.
typically whenever I ask anyone to help me with projects or anything like that, I ask them what their rate is.
Right.
What do you what would you charge someone else for this
Hmm.
product that you're getting? And you should pay that. I mean, uh, why not? You're paying your friends, you're paying a independent artist something, and probably under the table. I hope.
Truly, like
Give them cash. Give them cash.
give them cash, all the
I
cash.
just I just did my taxes, so give them cash.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, like I just booked my first consulting gig and like that was when we were doing our taxes. I was like, "Hey man, we're like I'm going to be doing this. Like how do I need to put it aside?" And he's like, "Well," and like, "Oh my gosh. That was the hardest thing when I was a full-time musician is like we had all these bars that we played at and when they were like, "Hey, so we need somebody social." It's like, "Wait a minute." I
Yeah,
realized that was what was happening when you were paying us in a check. Can we get cash next time? And like, oh man, that messed us up so bad because like that was our living. We didn't like we were just in our 20s, not thinking about any of that. And man, the first time that happened, and it was like then because it has to go under one person's name, like then we're like trying to figure out like, oh well, how do we like give Sean the money? And then
yeah.
we're like fighting over whose social it is. And it's like, okay, well you give this bar yours, and then you give that one yours, and
Mhm.
this one's like we played there twice as much, so we got to do this. And like, oh my gosh, yeah,
It's awful. Yeah, I agree.
yeah, that's like the hardest thing about like figuring out like how to start a business is like how to get paid because like
Exactly.
consulting gig it's like it's a real place, like it's this place called Gear Focus, it's like camera equipment, so I've got to like you know do it the right way. He's a
Yeah.
real business. And I'm like, oh gosh, can't you just like send me some lenses or something
Yeah,
like
exactly.
no.
Oh, God.
Well, dope. So what's the next thing you guys have going on after the album? Are you gonna do
Uh,
videos?
yeah, so that's our plan is we're going into the studio. I think someone asked who we're recording with. We're recording with Brian Fox at Altered States.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Brian Fox and Madison Moore are going to record us. Madison Moore from Absolutely Not and producing the album. So we're going to record with them in 2 weeks, probably over the course of like 3 to 5 days or so. We'll get everything finished. Um, and then we'll probably release the album sometime this fall. We want to do it whenever we can support it with some live events. So probably fall, winter, sometime
Mm-hmm.
around there. And what we're going to do is release quite a few music videos for the album. So we're going to recruit a bunch of local videographers to all do a different video. So they all have different kind of like vibes and stylistic choices.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we're going to release 6 to 8 music videos leading up to the album coming out. We also do, or in the past, Sam Westerling, she's our bass player. She's done a lot of our music videos, so she'll do at least one of them, and we'll probably have at least one more done within the band itself. But the idea is to have a bunch of different stylized music videos that all have kind of like a different vibe to
Mm-hmm.
them. They're all still going to be very Bev,
Yeah.
but it'll be a fun way to kind of get our music out there
Mm-hmm.
and just, I mean, I love making videos. Why would you not make videos when you're like such a visual band? So I'm super excited about it.
Oh, 100%. It's gonna be so cool, like especially when it's people that like know your music to let them like do their take on it.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I'm really excited to see that. Did Sam direct the one where Bev kidnaps you?
uh, Sam edited that one, and Aaron directed it and shot it. Um, it was it was a really funny video to shoot because like all of that happened on different days, obviously.
Uh-huh.
If you don't know, if you're listening to this. It's the video for our song Someone New, so go watch it. And it's basically me out of drag getting kidnapped by Bev through a series of events that happened in the video. It was very fun to shoot, and I think it's a cute video.
Yeah, so was that Aaron's idea to duct tape you up?
I don't know whose idea it was. I think we can say it was a group effort.
I I just
Yeah,
scrolled through your Instagram feed the other day and saw that, and I was like, oh my God. And I just like immediately had to go back and rewatch the video. But yeah,
yeah.
that's gonna be super dope having all those different the videos coming out. I'm really excited for that. It's gonna be a really good fall winter from the old Bev Rage The Drinks camp.
Old Beverly Rage is getting busy.
It's getting
I'm
wild.
already tired.
It's bedtime.
Yeah.
Well,
But
I appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me and chat tonight.
yeah, it was really fun. It was so good to catch up. I miss you. I hope we can hang out in person sometime soon.
Absolutely, yeah. It's definitely patio season. It's starting to get pretty. We just got some new patio lights outside, so I think that's a good idea.
Awesome. I'll bring the slip and slide.
Hell yeah. I got a big old yard. Let's get it done.
I'm so down.
All right, darling. Where tell everybody where they can find you.
Okay, so we are on all social media. We meaning the band Bev Rage and the Drinks. Instagram is at Bev Rage and the Drinks. Facebook at Bev Rage and the Drinks. I'm on Twitter as Beverly Rage. Let's see what else. Find us on like YouTube. Go watch our music videos. Those are really what you'll see. And check out our new music. We'll be releasing videos pretty much all probably starting in the summer at some point. And I promise you they will be entertaining and the music will be good. I swear.
I fully support and believe you.
Thank you.
It's good.
Someone does. Finally, I'm gonna tell my mom. Someone supports me, Mom.
Yeah, well, I know Pamela also does. She's still in the chat. Yeah, she's
Oh, thanks. I'm kidding. I have a wonderful mother. If she ever listens to this.
yeah.
Hi, Faye. Hi, Faye.
Hi, Faye. Thanks for making Bev for us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I love you. Have a lovely evening. I hope you get some good beauty rest tonight. And let's talk soon.
Thanks, Sarah. I will talk to you soon. Thanks for having me.
Good night, everybody.